Today we are going to be talking about primaries, and I'm often asked if I could only choose 3 primary colors, which colors I would choose. And I'm sure you know the primaries are yellow, red, and blue, but there are many different variations when you're choosing your primary triad. So I thought we would look at a few of them today. A lot of people consider this as a primary triad. Lemon yellow or Hansa yellow, medium, but we're going to use lemon yellow in this example. Ultramarine blue, which is a very, very common warm blue. Lemon yellow is a cool yellow. And quinacridone red, which is a cool red. Now the reason that we chose, or that I chose quinacridone red, is because it sits in the middle between your warmer reds, like Pyro red, and your cooler reds, like quinacridone rose or quinacridone magenta, even alizarin crimson. So quinacridone red is a nice mid-range red. Ultramarine is just an extremely popular blue, and lemon yellow is a popular yellow. So if you take these 3 as your primary, these are some of the mixes that you can get when you mix these 3 colors together. And if you mix a yellow and a red, you're going to get an orange. It can either be a warm orange or a cool orange, depending. This would be a warm orange. This would be a cooler orange. And if you mix blue and red together, you're going to get violets. And they're either going to be on the bluer side or on the redder side, depending on how you mix them. But there are many, many choices in between that you can get. So when it comes down to choosing which, if you could only choose 3 colors, which colors they would be. And I think a lot of it is really going to depend on your preference. As you can see with this combination, you can get some earthier colors. Your violets are not as pure and clean as they would be if you used a different blue. But you can still get a nice range of colors. You can get a maroon type color. You can get variations of green and variations of orange and of purple. Now, if you chose a different combination of primaries, you chose Hansa yellow medium, which is just probably the most common yellow that people have preference for. So I would say it's just extremely popular, and it sits between a cool yellow and a warm yellow. So it's a good choice for a yellow. If you just have one, if you can only have one yellow, it's an excellent yellow to choose. So on this one, we chose the Hansa yellow medium, the quinacridone red. And here you can see that it is a pinker red, and phthalo blue. Lots of people use phthalo blue as their primary because it's a very good mix in color. And as you can see from this little combination, you can get oranges that are more on the yellow side, more on the red side. You can get greens that are on both sides. Now, phthalo blue is a brighter color, so this palette is going to be brighter than this palette over here, which is going to be a slightly more muted palette. This palette gives you nice greens, and the purples are not great, but they're adequate. And you can get a better dark with this combination. As you can see, we almost got a black here. And if you look over here, the darkest color that I could get was really a deep dark brown with this combination. But I'm sure if I continue to mix, I probably could have gotten darker than that, but that's the darkest that I ended up with. So that's, and another thing about ultramarine blue that makes it such a popular color is that it's a granulating color. And you can see here, you see slight granulation. So that makes for a very, very pretty, it makes for a very pretty mixing color. And another choice that you could use, and this is based more on the, you hear people talk about the primaries as being cyan, yellow, and magenta, and those are the colors that your printer uses to mix colors. And many people say that this is the most pure triad that there is. You can get a red with this. I didn't show it on here, but you can get a true red by mixing your yellow and your quinacridone magenta together. And this makes beautiful combinations of colors. You get gorgeous oranges. You can get a very dark orange on the red side. Here's a more of a yellow orange. Your violets are the prettiest, in my opinion, because of the quinacridone magenta. You get beautiful violet combinations. You can still get a muted mahogany colors. And the other neat thing about using cerulean blue, which is the blue we're using in this palette, to me it's closer to cyan than a lot of the other blues. And cerulean is a very soft, granulating color. So you can get beautiful lavenders, and you get beautiful granulation, and you get these incredible grays. You can get wonderful grays from using cerulean blue. And you can get browns, as you did over here. So it's really going to depend on which way you're leaning. Like magenta would be a cool red, and cerulean would be probably a cooler blue than the ultramarine. And the Hansa yellow is kind of right in the middle. So this is a really nice mixing palette also. And I will show you some other combinations. Here is a split primary, using split primaries, cool and warm. In this combination, we use the lemon yellow, the phthalo blue, and the quinacridone magenta. And if you see here, this is really similar to this, except instead of using the Hansa yellow, I used lemon yellow. So you got a brighter palette than you got over here. If you can see that. You see how this one's brighter. And that phthalo blue was slightly different tone of phthalo blue also. But you can see from these three, from lemon yellow, phthalo blue, and quinacridone magenta, that you can get some very vivid colors. And then if you were to use new gamboge, which is a warm yellow, ultramarine, which is a warm blue, and pyro red, which is a warm red, then you get this warmer combination of colors. And you can see the difference here. Your greens tend to be more earthy if you use the warm colors. They're brighter if you use the cool colors. The oranges are not too terribly different. Of course, you have a pinker red if you're using the quinacridone magenta and the cool reds. You get a truer, more of a fire engine red with the pyro red. And you do get a good violet with that. And you do get a good violet over here, but they're very dark. So as you can see, there are lots of different choices. To me, the best solution would be to use a split primary color palette like this one. And that would be using lemon yellow as your cool yellow and new gamboge, or you could use the Hansa yellow if you just wanted to use one yellow. But new gamboge is a warmer yellow. Pyro red is a warm red. Quinacridone magenta as your cool red. Ultramarine as your warm blue, and phthalo blue as your cool blue. So you can see that by mixing around the color wheel, you get a full range of colors, and that's the most true vivid mixes that you can get by using a 6-color system. But if you did want to just use the 3 colors, you could certainly use that for a good long time. And I think the choice really is whether you want a more muted palette. So really the big decision is which blue. Honestly, that's the biggest decision, is which blue you want to use. If you want to use a greener blue in the phthalo blue, which is very powerful, or if you wanted to use a soft blue like the cerulean and get these softer mixes, which I think this is probably my favorite mixing palette right here with the cerulean. And cerulean blue makes beautiful skies. And so it's a really nice, nice color to have on your palette. It is quite a soft color though. But if you want to do with the more traditional and use the ultramarine, you would be looking at more of this combination. And there's still beautiful mixes. You can still get beautiful mixes with these. You are going to get a more muted green, and you're going to get a more muted purple or violet with this combination. So as you can see, there's no right or wrong, and there are not 3 colors that make the perfect triad, but there are many different choices. And I think it's really, would be probably the best thing to do would be to experiment and to find the colors that you want most, or that you like the best, and use those as your primaries, and then add as you needed the other colors, and you would have it. So there you have it. That's my theory on the primaries and the triads, and I hope you found this helpful. And if you did, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video.